Well, this is not a typical review. So I have a lot of gadgets here, but let me tell you what the point is. The point is that there is an Apple ecosystem which we are all used to, and frankly, it's very good. It's pretty good because everything works very seamlessly, and it looks like one brain has been working on it so that everything between an iPad, the iWatch, and between an iPhone, they all work very seamlessly, sharing, airdropping, everything is just spot on. But what if you're on the other side? What if you are an Android user and if you want something very premium, then there's only one ecosystem which is foolproof, which actually has an edge over the Apple ecosystem. A lot of sense, in the sense that they have the refrigerators and they have the TVs. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about a Samsung. Yes, Samsung has this. Let's start from here. The Galaxy 360 notebook, which is honestly expensive. It's not a cheap option to a MacBook, but it can do this. Yes, build quality is seamless, just like an Apple. Very high grade aluminum finish, and build quality looks that it'll last you a lifetime, like you do on a Apple system. But it also gets touchscreen, which is where this becomes a deal breaker. I've just been living with it alternative for some time, and I've just realized that how much we've become an Apple fanboy. Even I'm an Apple fanboy, and I think I'll switch back once upon a time. But the idea is that how good is the Samsung ecosystem? Let's find that out. Now, let's start from the smallest of things, the buds. They connect with both the iPhones and all the other Android smartphones, and they are pretty good. They can actually compete with AirPods Pro and AirPods, and to a lot of extent. Yes, but the ANC in the AirPods, I think, is a great better. But a lot of times I feel that the Samsung actually also does a very good job in terms of battery backup. They actually outlast the AirPods. But if you have to connect and live with an Apple with Samsung, then you'll find that easily connecting. But simple things, for example, if I am using my iPhone, then every time you pick up the call, if you're using your AirPods, it will automatically connect. Otherwise, you have to manually come and dongle down and choose the AirPod options. That means, so that is irritating. These small little things makes the change. So they are trying to restrict other ecosystems to come into play, which is understandable. Samsung is a trillion-dollar company, and Apple is one of the largest company in the world. They don't become profitable by giving away free lunches. So understandable, but then this starts from there. Second thing, I want to talk about the Watch 5 Pro. Though the Apple Watch Ultra is pretty good, there's no complaint. There's one particular thing, and please note for all the bikers out there, this is very important to understand. When you use a Samsung, in my case, I use the S23 Ultra, and when I'm going to use Google Map, because Apple Maps, it's not the best. I mean, we all use Google Maps, even in the Apple ecosystem. You always land up using Google Maps. So that turn-by-turn navigation comes here. So when you're riding a bike, this really becomes very handy, because if you don't have the navigation on the biking, or if you are cycling, then this can give you a haptic feel, and you can tell you left, right, or center. On the Apple Watch, only Apple Maps work. They also do the same thing, but with the Apple Map system. I'll tell you a very simple example, which said something that I realized, and I had a lot of issues. Some time back, I was in Bangkok and I was riding the new Harley Davidson Nightster. Now that didn't had navigation, and that didn't even had a phone stand for me to stuck my smartphone for navigation. A very particular thing in Bangkok, there are separate highways for bikes. So there are separate highways and separate roads. So there are some highways where a biker cannot go. Now, when you put a Google map, it doesn't differentiate. So it took me to that highway, which I'm not supposed to take. A Google map actually tells you, okay, this is not allowed. So then I had to resort back to Mac, and I was using my Apple Watch, and I had a hell of a time. I used to flip my phone out, see the navigation, go back. You can imagine how frustrating that was. Yeah, simple things, simple tech hacks becomes a pain point that point of time. I was missing my Watch 5 Pro that point of time. Now let's move on from there. Let's talk about the tablets. Now Samsung has the Tab S8, which is this. There's S8 Plus, and there's also this S8 Ultra. Now S8 Ultra, again, it's a very high definition and a very different form factor. It is a 14.1-inch screen, it can actually replace your laptop. To a lot of extent, you don't need a laptop. And this screen size, this AMOLED screen is superb. It's 12 gig of RAM, 256 GB of storage. This is where this actually takes a step down. The Apple iPad, which has up to 1 TB of storage. This is where the iPad really scores. Now, the keypad, again, when you're on a plane and we are actually going to keep this on your lap, this thing will shake. So this is not as sturdy as probably a MacBook, if you're comparing this with MacBook, or the iPad. So both of them, that's where the difference lies. But interesting part is that you can actually have a WhatsApp app inbuilt. That's where the notification is coming in. You can have your WhatsApp app just like you have on the MacBook, but on the iPad you cannot have that. So you can actually use your WhatsApp as an inbuilt app. You don't have to go to WhatsApp web. This is a beauty. So everything has some pluses and the minuses, but I like the way it comes out and the way this S Pen is parked here very, very smartly, and you can use this. Battery lasts good old day and longer. The sound quality of the speaker is very good. So we have done reviews. You can check on our system. We have done the reviews of that. This is not about particular individual gadgets. Now let's take this aside. Let's come to this, the S8. S8 is your, the iPad mini or the iPad entry-level iPads, the iPad Air or the old generation of iPad. And it's pretty good. For the price point, it actually packs in a lot of things. Again, 8 GB of RAM. This has 128 GB of storage. This also doesn't get too much of storage, at least not that you can buy off the shelf. And I'm not sure if you can tailor make from a Samsung store. I cannot comment on that. But this is a good form factor. This is a very light tablet. Let's talk about the S8 Ultra. Actually, I use this for a lot of presentations, and you can take this out like this. You can place it on your desk, and you can actually show the presentation like this. The screen is big, and the sound quality is very nice. The screen resolution is very bright, and the battery is good. You're pretty much sorted. Now, when you typically show from your laptop, there's a lot of personalization options. In this, you actually can go to YouTube, you can go to your presentations and open it. And this works better when there's a PowerPoint presentation and when there are other things attached. And Samsung also has Samsung Desk, which is more seamless because sharing of screens, I can work from here, and just like the Apple ecosystem, I can fly this here, work here, take it to my phone, and likewise. So all of that thing, sharing of files, just like airdropping, is also prevalent in Samsung. Not many of us use that, not that we need it. Why would I like to use this to control my this when both of them are close by? But anyways, that's a system that you have. The Zoom, the video calls on these laptops are better quality than the Apple system, especially on the Galaxy 360. When I do a video call, people ask, am I using a DSLR? That's what they ask. But on a MacBook, the front camera is not the best. It's not something that you brag about. Now, when it comes to this tablet, again, the same thing. You can take this out just like this. And when you take it out, you can read on your go. And apparently, if you use both of them, so you can use one for your casual browsing, reading, and you can use the other for thing. It's not that you have to buy all of that, but together they make a very holistic plan. Actually, I'm using all these three in rotation, and I find that pretty awesome because Samsung Notes, just like Apple Notes, you can use between the three seamlessly. So that's something which is very nice. Now, special mention for the Galaxy 360 notebook. This is such a beautiful machine. I mean, if Apple Macs come with the touchscreen, they are undoubtedly going to beat them hands down. But having a touchscreen changes the equation, because for me, having a touchscreen really enhances the whole working environment, and the battery lasts long. This is 16 GB of RAM. It cost about 160,000 mark, which is expensive, yes, but then MacBooks aren't cheap either. But you can do this. You can actually use this to work, and you can browse when you want to work, and you can show people your presentation. So if in case you just want to buy this, instead of that you want a bigger screen size, you have size options. This also makes a lot of sense. Let's talk about the S23 Ultra. Now we all know about the moonshot images and how versatile this smartphone is. This is undoubtedly the most premium and the best smartphone you can get in the Android ecosystem. It's expensive. Once again, nothing in Samsung is cheap. They have a cheaper option, inexpensive options, but these are all very high-end gadgets and they work the part. So in nutshell, if you're looking to switch to an Android ecosystem, you can explore the Samsung ecosystem. We'll be doing more of that in the future. If you want to know something specific, feel free to drop on the comments. We'll try and come back around and give you an answer. And in the next one, you take care and bye-bye.